Today we're going to be covering 3 guard passing concepts in a sequential order that will help you improve your passing. The concepts are staying in front of the feet, controlling the knee-elbow connection, and then finally controlling the head and the shoulders. It doesn't matter what type of guard your opponent is playing, these concepts will apply in nearly any situation when you're passing the guard. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video. I've included some bonus content today. It's me and one of my black belts, Dylan Benningfield. We're troubleshooting some techniques that we've both been working on recently, then some examples of us doing it in live training. So the first concept we're going to talk about is staying past the feet or staying in front of the feet. So my partner's feet, the way I think about it, they're the grips that his legs are going to use to control me, and his actual legs are really the horsepower. So if I can deny his feet from making meaningful connections to my body, I'm going to deny him the ability to control me. So this is kind of the first step when you guys are starting to pass the guard. Like if we look at his body and just lay down here. Initially, I have to get past his feet, get past his knees, I get to his hips, eventually get to his head and shoulders, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But if we go into a classic De La Riva guard position, if you guys think about any guard pass I would do from here, or really from any position, I have to address my partner's feet, and I really have to get past the feet. So for example, he has his De La Riva hook, I have to clear the De La Riva hook, I usually have to step over his foot that's on the hip, and now his feet are effectively behind me. There's obviously other variations of passes here. I can clear the De La Riva hook. I can go into a stack position. Again, his feet are effectively behind me. If I want to split his legs, again, feet are effectively behind me. Whatever variation I'm going to move into, I first have to address the feet and pretty much in every case, get the feet behind my body. If we apply that into, let's say, a split squat position, same thing. If he has a reverse De La Riva hook, if he has a foot on my hip, his feet are enacting meaningful control on my body. Can't pass the guard here. I have to strip the hook, get the foot off of me right here, and I can start to progress and start to apply passing pressure on him. This is always going to apply. Even one of the worst scenarios is if he has inside position, he has 2 butterfly hooks. Like even though it may look like his toes are behind me, his heels and feet are really in front of me, I have to address the hooks and get to a position where the feet are behind me and I can start applying pressure to him. If I'm outside the legs, doing any type of outside passing, effectively in this position, his feet are behind my body right now. He's not in a position where his feet can enact any control on me. If he can start to push and frame and get his feet on me, now he's in a situation where he can use his feet to control me and start to generate offense. So anytime we're passing, keeping the feet behind me is one of my top priorities and one of the first things I'm looking to do when I begin to pass the guard. Guys, I have to let you know, if you want to learn more guard passing from me, head over to BJJ Fanatics. I have 4 instructionals that cover various types of guard passing. And of course, you can check out my Patreon. I have hundreds of videos up there showing all manner of jiu-jitsu techniques. So the second concept we're going to talk about is controlling the knee-elbow connection, or controlling the space between the knees and the elbows. So I would say this is generally like the second thing I'm doing when guard passing. We're talking about this in 3 sequential positions, but when I'm passing the guard, especially if Diego's a good guard player, which he is, once I'm past the feet, a lot of the times his knees and elbows will be connected. So his knees will be pulled to his chest. So even if I do start to apply chest-to-chest pressure, I can't effectively separate that space. So once we get to a position where we're past the feet, we are trying to control that space between our partner's knee and elbow. And this applies both on the top knee and elbow and the bottom knee and elbow. And there's various strategies we can use to separate one or the other. But for example, if I'm doing a knee cut pass and I'm able to get my knee to the mat, I'm effectively controlling that bottom knee elbow connection. But if the top knee and elbow still remain, I might not be able to effectively secure the pass. I can't get inside the space to begin to climb the shoulders and head. Diego can just replace his knee back inside and just recover his guard. So it's important. There are various grips that we can employ to do this, but it's important I'm separating both the top and bottom knee elbow connection. If I'm doing an outside pass, for example, or a hip and knee post, if his knees and elbows are tight, I can't effectively drop into side control. A common strategy is running north-south and using our hands in a way to check our partner's hip and open that space up so I can fit myself into that space between his elbow and his knees. If I'm in side control or north-south on my partner, my body is effectively occupying that space between the elbow and the knees. If his elbow and knee are connected, even though I'm close to him, I might have top elbow knee connection, bottom elbow knee is not. I don't have that connection. He could replace the guard and eventually recover. So as we're progressing through our guard passing, we get past the feet. Usually our second job is to open that connection so we can put our body inside that knee elbow connection, which will allow us to eventually climb the shoulders and control the head. A great way of doing this is an underhook, for example. And you'll see in the training videos, this is something I like to do a lot. An underhook is kind of like a fast track to passing the guard because I control the top knee elbow connection and it does give me control of the shoulders and oftentimes the head, which makes it easy to start the pass. So that's what we're going to get into next, controlling the head and the shoulders. The last concept we're going to cover is controlling the head and shoulders, and this is usually the last step in guard passing. However, as we just talked about with the underhook, there are certain examples where this might be something that we do much earlier in the sequence, which gives us control later on in the guard pass. Effectively, what controlling the head and the shoulders means, the most common way is head and arm control. You see this very often. If I have a far side underhook and a crossface, this is one of the best ways I can control my partner. This works assuming my body is inside that knee, that bottom knee elbow connection. If Diego has bottom knee elbow connection, I have head and arm control. Not that I can't pass from here, but because my hands are occupied, I don't effectively have the ability to open that space. So again, usually we get this once our body is past our partner's knees, not necessarily past the feet, but a half guard is a perfect example. My body is past my partner's knees. Now I can climb to this head and arm control. There are multiple ways to do this, of course. It doesn't necessarily just have to be head and arm control. It can be double underhooks, but usually we need something where we're behind our partner's elbow. And what that means is if I am past Diego's guard, even if I have knee elbow connection control, if I'm not behind one of his elbows, effectively I have no control of my partner. See how Diego's elbows are inside of my elbows right here? I really am not controlling him. If he gives me a slight bump and bridge, he can then reclaim that knee elbow space. So anytime we're looking to pin somebody and eventually control them, I have to be behind the elbow. So see how my elbow is behind Diego's elbow? This doesn't have to be like a full underhook. Even if his elbow is really tight, as long as a little bit of my arm is behind my partner's elbow, I have control right here. Now when he goes to turn into me, I'm effectively pinning that shoulder. And as long as I maintain control of that bottom side knee elbow, I'm controlling my partner. Again, this can come in many forms. It could be via double underhooks, far side head and arm control. There's of course some situations where you have near side head and arm control, like a kata-gatame. This is not something I do, but if done correctly, you can effectively pin someone because you are behind the elbow. So I've been doing head and arm chokes. So when guys get on turn away right here, which is pretty common, I'll scrape his hip to lock my legs.
That's nice finish. Yeah. You're pulling your hips, like their hips towards you with your ankles.
Yeah, almost like when you like scrape the knee to like put a hook in from the back.
Yeah.
It's like the same idea. So even if I lose like the bicep section on this last 10 finger grip, try to get my forearm on the side of his head. And when he goes to turn, I'll scrape the hip and lock my legs right.
Something I was doing for a bit, like during those, we're doing those high ball rounds on the underhook side. Guys jump to the side. Like jump. Yeah, the Fabian. Yeah, the Fabian. And then I was scraping and using this, but I was like extending. I was like scissoring my legs this way.
Nice. But like your lock is on the side of their neck.
Yeah, but I wasn't thinking about using that same thing to strangle. It's nice though, like.
Yeah, just go forearm, like it doesn't have to be super deep, and then just.
Nice. I've been playing a lot with like reverse figure four.
Yeah, that's pretty good, right? Like,
It's pretty solid. I don't know, my shoulder's been a little.
I have trouble doing it with my shoulder, but I feel like the guys do it.
I like it from like just regular head arm chokes. From there, I can set it up, but I don't know, my
Yeah,
shoulder's
so
been
you
a
do,
lot.
Ryan, you have like the I think it was the anaconda or something. Or,
I had a standing order.
yeah.
Like this. He went to snap me down with his hand, and I popped this up.
Yes, yeah. He's trying a little bit, right?
Yeah. That's
Maybe we can
right.
include that in the video. Very cool.